Hi, I'm Lance Henriksen. You're watching Bryan Lomax's Movie Talk. Don't turn it off.
Yes, so we're finally here. It's Batman and Robin, that classic of comic book cinema that everybody loves. Released in 1997 and directed by Joel Schumacher, returning from Batman Forever, this film pits Batman and Robin and Batgirl against the villains Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, and Bane. Where do you start with this film? I just don't know. It's bizarre. The thing is, structurally, this film is almost identical to Batman Forever. So why is it this one does not work, yet Batman Forever in some strange way did? I just don't know. It's like Schumacher just pushed it a little bit in Batman Forever. He brought the camp in, he brought the Dutch angles in, he brought the colour in. And because it kind of worked, in box office terms at any rate, loads of people went to see it, it was the biggest money earner that year, he just pushed it that little bit extra. And it's a monstrosity, quite frankly. That being said, I watched it this time around for the sake of this review, and I did slightly enjoy it. A little bit, maybe that much. That much? I got a little bit of enjoyment from it. I know, shock horror, yes. I was watching this film and I gotta say, some of the bits in it, I think the frame of mind that you bring to this film really does determine what level of enjoyment you are going to get from it. Now, if I came to this film with my critical mind, as I did the previous time I watched it before this viewing, I would just rip it apart. And it's a very easy thing to do with this film. There is very little about it that really works in any kind of genuine sense. But if you come to this film accepting the fact that it's just rubbish, you can get some level of entertainment from it. There are laughs to be had here, in much the same way there are laughs to be had from The Room or a film like that. I also still maintain that Schumacher does shoot action sequences better than Burton. There are some action sequences in this film that are quite entertaining. The bike chase sequence, for example, the rocket ship sequence at the beginning, as ridiculous as it is and as bad as the dialogue is in that sequence, I was slightly entertained by it. But Schumacher rapes these characters. He destroys any credibility that these characters had from the comic books. Bane, the biggest villain of the 90s in Batman comic books, destroyed, turned into a lackey who just grunts his way around the picture. Mr. Freeze, one of the most tragic villains to come out of the 90s animated series. I know he existed before that, but Paul Dini, when he introduced him in the 90s animated series, really nailed that character, gave us a villain worthy of Batman, a tragic villain. Completely gone from this film, just an absolute joke. And then we get to Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy, as played by Uma Thurman. What the hell is she doing in this role? She is playing it like she is constantly going through a bout of constipation. She delivers her lines like some kind of William Shatner reject. The character of Batgirl is one of the most annoying characters as well. The females in this film really don't come off that well. Then again, nobody really does, do they? No one gets away clean. However, the character of Batgirl is so annoying. She comes onto the scene determined to change the course of Alfred's life, to get him out of this life of servitude, as she puts it, despite the fact he's never given her any indication whatsoever that he hates his life, that he's disappointed with the direction it's gone in. Much later in the film, when he gives all his secrets to her to pass on to his brother Wilfred, and he says explicitly, do not open this. What does she do? She opens it. Are we supposed to like this character as a result of her actions? She just comes across as the most insubordinate little numpty I've ever seen in my life. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. Really? Who saw that coming? I remember when this film was announced and Patrick Stewart's name was on the cards, that would have been a great choice. But that being said, it's hard to see how any actor could have done anything with this role. The script is just one bad pun after another, after another, after another, after another. And the dialogue in places is just... It's unfathomable how anybody could have looked at this on the page and thought, yeah, that would be a good thing to say. And Commissioner Gordon, oh man, what have they done to this character? Look at the progression of his character through the 4 films he was in. Poor Pat Hingle. When he was in the first 1989 Batman film, and he was like, a decent character. He looked like he had some strength. He looked like the police force respected him, and he was playing that role quite seriously. Along these films, he's just got progressively worse. And now, in this film, he literally looks like he's been ripped straight out of the 1960s Batman TV series. Michael Gough is probably just about acceptable. His progression through the films has been okay. He's kind of remained the same for the most part. And Joel Schumacher clearly has a respect for him. He said as much in his commentary on Batman Forever. And it feels like because of that respect, they bumped up his role in this film. He gets a bit more to do here, more than he's had in any of the previous films. He gets quite a bit of the major story arc. But that story arc is just... Again, it's just badly written. We're told that McGregor syndrome is so rare, this thing that Mr. Freeze's wife suffers from, and yet Alfred contracts it. What are the odds? Chris O'Donnell is actually okay in this film. I know I said I thought he was okay in the last film, if just quite clearly the wrong age for the role, but here he's not too bad. He works a bit more because we're not dependent on him being this young lad who needs a foster home. He's his own man now, so it kind of works, and he kind of works in this role better than he did in the previous film. It's just that he's in this film. And for George Clooney, this film was perhaps the single worst, but also simultaneously the best thing for his career. The film is terrible, and he is terrible in it. He never stops shaking his head. Everything he says, he's like this. Whoever he's talking to, whether he's trying to be sad or happy. But as a result of this film, his career skyrocketed because he made good decisions from there on out. He clearly never wanted to put himself in this kind of embarrassing position ever again. And now he makes good movies. He looks at scripts before going into them. Joel Schumacher has apologised, kind of, for his efforts in this film, but he also bandies about a few excuses as to why it's so bad, some of which are actually quite legitimate. This film is a toy commercial. He was told by the studio very specifically to make the film toyetic, and that is just never more evident than with the vehicles in this film. If you look at the vehicles in this film, the Batmobile, the Batcycle, the whatever that weird thing is at the end of the film, they just look exactly like toys. Now, usually in a Batman film, you'll get the Batmobile or whatever, and a toy version will come out, and it'll look like a cheaper version of the high-budget, glossy special effect from the film. It doesn't look quite the same, doesn't look quite as good, because it's plastic, it's flimsy, it's sold to children. But in this film, I swear, the toys that was sold for it look identical to the vehicles that were used in the film. Like, they literally used the toys. They made the toys, put them in the film, and then sold them in the shops. So yes, it's ridiculous, it's outlandish, it's terribly made, badly written, badly directed, terribly acted. There's nothing really to redeem this film, but it is entertaining. I can laugh at it, I can tear it apart, I can enjoy it many times by coming to it and just laughing at how bad it is. And for that reason, I give it a 3 out of 10. So if you've seen this film and you actually like it, I mean really like it, not in a comedic sense, in a kind of I like to tear it down kind of way, but genuinely like this film, please comment below, let me know, because I'd love to chat with you. Until next time, thanks for watching. Moving on to films like Out of Sight, and then Oscar nominees for films like other stuff that I can't remember. Yeah.